Hey guys, it's Sarah. Thank you so much for watching. So today we are going to be doing another throwback favorites video. So we're going to be revisiting my favorites from April and May of 2018, so 1 year ago. So I've been doing these videos maybe every 2 to 3 months just to kind of go back and share, have my thoughts changed on these products? Are they still favorites a year later? I think it's always fun to kind of travel back in time and revisit products that were favorites. A lot of times I do change my mind about products over time just as my tastes and my preferences change, but a lot of these things really have stood the test of time. So let's go ahead and start with my April favorites from last year. So one of my favorites last April was this Ulta Beauty Matte Eye Primer in Nude. This is still going strong. It's probably going to be going strong for another year or more because, I don't know, it takes me forever to use up primers in this kind of a packaging. But the nice thing about this, and I think I talked about it in that video, was that it does have a little bit of coverage to it, and so it does kind of neutralize any kind of discoloration that you have going on your eyelids. If that's the kind of eye primer that you're looking for, this one is really nice. It's probably not going to have the same effect on every skin tone. I'm not sure how this would look on deeper skin tones because, you know, it does have that coverage, but it may end up looking a little bit ashy on deeper skin tones. I'm really not sure. I can't make an assumption on that, but for myself, I do really still enjoy it. It has just kind of a thin consistency. It's not too oily, but it's not, it's just got a little bit of a tackiness to it. Definitely helps, you know, hold on to shadows, keep them from creasing. It's still a product that I really enjoy. It's kind of pricey for a drugstore eyeshadow primer. It's $12, but it does last forever. I still like it, but it's not something that I'm gonna go around recommending all the time. Another favorite from last April was this Terre Mineral Blush in the shade Rosy. So this is a loose powder blush, and you know, I do still really like this blush. It's just that I have too many blushes, and the thing that I've figured out about blush is that they all pretty much look the same. You know, some of them might have a different finish than others. This one kind of has like a pearly finish, so, you know, certain blushes might make your lips look a little bit more juicy, some are more matte, some, you know, like they vary in tone a little bit, but you have to remember that you're applying such a thin layer of blush to your skin that it really is mixing with the color of your foundation underneath, your, you know, your natural skin tone. There's really only so much difference in the way blushes can look on your skin. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I do still like this, but I just don't get, I don't know, I don't get that excited by having a huge variety of blushes anymore. And I really don't reach for it that often, probably because it's a loose powder. But when I do use it, I think it's gorgeous. I think it's really pretty. Since it is a loose powder, it blends into the skin really nicely. But I wouldn't say that it's like a top favorite anymore. I actually ranked all my blushes a couple months ago, and I don't think that this one ranked super high. I think it was kind of in the bottom half. Mostly because it's just kind of expensive, and I really don't think you need to spend a lot of money on blushes. But I still like it. I don't, you know, I'm not gonna declutter it or anything, but I, you know, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a favorite anymore. Another favorite, this is something that I must have just recently discovered at this time last year. It's the Real Techniques setting brush, and this brush remains a favorite. I use it every day for highlighter. This is just the best highlighter brush. Now, I haven't tried that many highlighter brushes, but this is the brush that got me into highlighter because before I had this, I just didn't have a good way of applying highlighter. The brush that I had that I used for highlighter was the e.l.f. small, what is it called? The small tapered brush. And that one just didn't pack enough of it onto my cheeks. This one is a little bit smaller, it has a lot of taper, and it just does a great job. I mean, I used it to apply my highlighter today. I'm wearing the Becca highlighter in Champagne Pop today. Ooh, it's so pretty. But this is just my foolproof highlighter brush. You can also, of course, use it to set your under eyes. That's kind of, I guess what it's meant for, but I think most people use it for highlighter. I continue to use it for highlighter. I'd really like to get some more so that, you know, if it's dirty, I have, you know, some backups, but I love this brush. You know, it's definitely still a favorite. I definitely recommend it over and over again for highlighter. It's just the best one. It also has stood the test of time as far as, you know, holding up quality-wise. Like, I haven't had any issues with it shedding or falling apart or anything, and I've had it now for over a year. It's been through many washes, so that's another testament to its amazing quality. Another favorite from last April, this must have been just when I had recently purchased my first single shadows from Makeup Geek. So I bought this Makeup Geek, it's their Travel Vault magnetic palette, and I had 8 single shadows from them that I had just recently bought. I'd been going for kind of an earthy tone vibe, plus like a huge pop of blue right there in the middle. And I have to say, I probably won't be purchasing any more Makeup Geek shadows. I feel like, well, for one thing, the hype has definitely gone down with Makeup Geek. I'm not sure why, but you know, I remember there was a time on YouTube when Makeup Geek single shadows were like, everyone was talking about them. And I had always wanted to try them just because they were kind of like the OG single shadows of YouTube. But since then, I really, you know, I've also tried, the only brands of single eyeshadow that I own now are Makeup Geek and ColourPop. And the ColourPop ones are a little bit less expensive. These are like $6 to $10 for one, whereas the ColourPop ones, I think they're $4.50 now. They used to be just $4. I don't know why they raised the price. That was rude. But as far as these Makeup Geek shadows, I don't know. One of them I actually am trying to declutter. I just need to find someone to give it to. I don't know if I have a lot of friends who are as into single shadows as I do. But this is the shade Bake Sale. This one I have one almost exactly like it in a ColourPop single, so I don't need 2 of those. So that one's technically decluttered even though I still have it. I talked about it in a declutter video. My favorite shadow from Makeup Geek is Voltage. This is actually one of my favorite single shadows ever. I love the duochrome like white gold. I don't know what it is. It's just such a fun color to have. Honestly, I haven't used this blue shade a ton, although I really want to. Like every time I look at it, I'm like, oh wow, I really need to use that, but I don't know, I just never use it. But my favorite shades out of these are definitely Voltage, Pegasus, which is the blue even though I never use it, and the shade Grandstand, which is kind of like a rose gold. That's one of their foiled shadows. It did explode on me, even though I don't think I ever dropped it. One time I just opened this palette and it was like completely shattered, so I repressed it, and it repressed just fine, but that's a gorgeous color, a nice kind of staple like lid shade. The other shades I'm not that impressed with. The other shades I have are Dirty Martini, Venom, what is this one? Roulette, and Aphrodite. Those are they're just okay. They're not as, I guess, buttery as I would like them to be. I've hardly ever used the shade Roulette. I don't know why. It's just kind of like a shimmery copper color. These shadows are perfectly fine. I don't know. I'm not as, I guess I don't get excited about them. Part of it could just be that I didn't do a good job selecting inspiring shades. I think Roulette and Aphrodite are ones that I got on sale. They just happened to be on sale on their website then. So they're fine. I'll continue to have them. It's nice to have, you know, some olive greens and a bright blue and some other like kind of staple colors, but I'm not gonna run out and buy any more Makeup Geek shadows anytime that I can foresee. So probably not a favorite anymore, but I enjoy having them. I also don't think I'd recommend this Travel Vault magnetic palette because if you're using it for single shadows, there's always going to be this gap right here because it's like a little bit bigger, it's a little bit wider than what you need to just fit 3 in a row, but it's not big enough to fit 4. So I wish they would have either made it smaller or big enough to fit 4 shades across. But I'm sure there's probably a reason for that, like maybe you could also fit blushes in here or something like that, but I don't appreciate the way that this is sized for eyeshadows. It just doesn't make sense to me, because I feel like I'm just wasting space, especially if I'm using it for travel. I'd rather have a smaller palette, you know? So anyway, and then the last favorite from April of last year was the Anastasia Brow Wiz. I've talked about it, you know, several times on my channel. I had it in the shade Taupe. I did use it up, I think, like last summer, or I think I used it up like last summer or fall, and I loved that brow pencil. It's the brow pencil that really got me into like the micro tip brow pencils, and now that's pretty much what I always use. But I found a cheaper one to replace it, actually 2 cheaper ones that I think are good replacements for it. The NYX Micro Brow, which I had and also used up. That one was really nice, really similar to the Brow Wiz. And also the ColourPop Ultra Fine Brow Pencil. I have it in the shade Soft Blonde. The only problem with this one is it doesn't come in as many shades. The NYX Micro Brow does come in more shades. I know that the ABH Brow Wiz comes in the most, but I definitely would recommend going for either the CoverGirl or the NYX if you're looking for a cheaper alternative. They're both around $10. I think you can get them for a little bit cheaper depending on where you buy them, but I probably won't repurchase the Brow Wiz unless it's on like a crazy good sale, because I just prefer to go for a drugstore one, especially because I use up brow pencils sort of regularly. So but yeah, still a favorite. I still have fond memories of it, but I think there are equivalent ones that are not as expensive. So there's that. Moving on to my May favorites from last year. So this is when I fell in love with the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation. This continues to be my favorite foundation. I am so excited to be done soon with the Urban Decay Naked Skin Foundation. Not that I don't like that one, but I'm just really ready to use this. I'm probably going to put this in my project pan once the Urban Decay one is done. Probably, I haven't decided yet, but I still love this foundation just as much as I did a year ago. A lot of people don't like the applicator, and I remember saying in that favorites video from a year ago that I'm not sure how quickly this will expire because, you know, one of the problems with having a doe foot applicator that you're putting directly on your face is that you might pick up some of whatever like primer you're wearing underneath or moisturizer that you're wearing. This is going to pick up some of whatever's on your skin when you prep your skin for foundation. And it also is just like coming in contact with your skin, so I wasn't sure if this would, like how well this would hold up being in this type of packaging. But I have to say it really hasn't changed. I don't think it's expired in the year that I've had it. So I don't feel like the fact that it has a doe foot applicator is a big concern for me. It definitely hasn't, you know, the smell hasn't changed. I feel like the formula is still performing just as well as it was then. So a year later, I can kind of say now that I don't think that that's too big of a concern. I'm sure they put some kind of like preservative ingredients in here that are gonna help it stay good, given the fact that the applicator is going to touch your skin when you apply it. So I love it. This is also such a good shade match for me. I have the shade LN3 and it's like the perfect foundation shade. Like this is going to be my standard shade now that I compare other foundations to when I'm trying to select a shade, because it's just like the perfect shade. I love it. So I do still love this foundation. It does have a smell. A lot of people complain about the smell. I actually love the smell. It kind of smells like maple syrup, sort of, or like a glazed donut. Not a glazed donut, kind of like a caramely maple syrup. To me, it's not a strong smell, but some people seem to say that the smell is really strong for them, so maybe it depends, like maybe it varies. But I don't really find that to be bothersome, but I know some people are sensitive to smells, so just keep that in mind. But I love this foundation. It's more of like a medium coverage, but it has good coverage. Like a lot of people will say that this is more of a light coverage. I would say that it's a solid medium, and you can build it up. So still a favorite. This is one of those things that I am most likely going to repurchase once I use it up because it's just that good. And I don't do that very often. Like it's not very often that I use up a makeup product and then repurchase it unless it's like really, really a favorite. I think at this time last year I was really trying out a lot of the new Physicians Formula products because about a year ago they came out with a bunch of new things, namely their Healthy line, which consisted of that foundation and then also the Healthy Lip liquid lipsticks. And in my favorites video a year ago, I talked about the one in the shade Tulip Treatment. I think this was the only shade I had at the time. And it's just a gorgeous like watermelon summer red. Still one of my favorite lip colors that I own. Since then, I actually have purchased two more. The shades All Natural Nude and Nourishing Plum. So three very different colors that I have. I have like a nude, a really vampy, like deep eggplant, and then like a red. So my least favorite of the three is the shade Nourishing Plum. I think just because it's so dark, it does kind of wear off weirdly, but I don't have that problem with these two. This one will kind of, I've only worn it a couple times because it's a little much. Like not only is the color a little much, but also just the way that it wears, it's not quite as nice as these two. I would say maybe stick to like the lighter shades and the more bright colors, maybe stay away from the super deep colors, but very comparable to the Ofra liquid lipstick. They smell really similar. They have a similar way of wearing. They don't completely set, so there is going to be a little bit of transfer, but because of that, it's, you know, a lot more comfortable. It's really not as drying as like your typical liquid lipstick. So I still love these. If somebody were to ask me like on the spot, tell me your favorite liquid lipstick, it's gonna be the Physicians Formula ones. Another favorite of mine last year was the Ulta Beauty Plush Drama Volumizing Mascara. That was a really nice mascara. It had kind of a long brush, I remember, but it did a great job just like really volumizing and lengthening my lashes. I remember it was one of those mascaras that made my lashes like touch my brows, basically. I do already have pretty long lashes, but it like amplified them even more. I loved that mascara, but it looks like they aren't selling that mascara anymore, so that's kind of a bummer. I don't know why they discontinued it because it was really good. The Ulta brand actually does make some good mascaras. I remember I also had their curled up mascara at one point. That one I really liked too, but I think I remember it transferring just a little bit, so probably wouldn't go back to that one. But the volumizing one was so good, and I don't know why they got rid of it. But I actually have an unopened Ulta mascara. This is their Ultimate Lashes Multitasking Mascara. I'm not sure what that means. This was kind of part of a gift with purchase set, and I haven't opened it yet, but this will be my next one that I use. So I actually have really high hopes for this because I remember liking both of the other Ulta mascaras that I had tried in the past, so I'm really excited to try this one. I obviously, like, it's been so long since I used that Plush Drama one that I can't really say for sure, but I'm sure it would still be a favorite because my mascara preferences haven't really changed, but it's discontinued now. So really hoping that this Ultimate Lashes one will be really good. Let me know if you've tried it. I feel like the Ulta brand makes some really good mascaras, and they're definitely one of those kind of under the radar brands really for everything, but I don't really hear people talking about their mascaras that often, even though they are really good. My favorite mascara at the moment is the Flower Lash Warrior mascara. That's probably my favorite cruelty-free mascara that I've ever tried, but it does have a really big brush, and it has kind of a wetter formula, so I'm sure not everyone would love it, but I really like it. That's what I'm wearing on my lashes right now and in like all my videos from the past like 2 months. Another favorite from a year ago was the ABH Soft Glam palette. This is still a favorite for sure. This is kind of like my staple neutral palette. I finally hit pan on one of the colors in here, which is crazy. My eyeshadow palette collection has definitely grown since a year ago. I think at that time I probably only had like 4 or 5 eyeshadow palettes. Now I think I have maybe 10, so I'd like to keep the number right around 10 because that's plenty of eyeshadows. So, you know, I don't think everyone needs this palette because it's a very basic palette, but if you are just now kind of starting out building up an eyeshadow palette collection and you need something that's kind of neutral, definitely leans warm, so just be aware of that, but I do love it. I love the shimmers in here. The only shade I don't love in here is the shade Sultry. It's just kind of chunky and not as buttery and pigmented as I would expect from an ABH eyeshadow, but everything else in here is gorgeous. It's just a good palette. Last couple of favorites. This one I actually just talked about in a video recently. This is the Mineral Fusion Beach Hair Texture Spray. I still do really like it. I'm sure it's nothing special. I feel like a lot of brands make similar products. I know Pacifica makes like a beachy wave spray as well. So I don't know if I would continue repurchasing this once it's done. I think I'd probably want to try something new, but it definitely does do a good job. It's almost like a light hold hairspray. It does just add some nice like volume and texture. I usually just spray it from like here down, and I'm wearing it in my hair today. I kind of let my hair air dry, and then I blow dried it towards the end. I let it air dry for the most part, and then I blow dried it a little bit, and I kind of did like a scrunching motion after I sprayed this in, and I don't know, I like it. Got some like nice beachy waves going on. But yeah, it definitely is still a favorite, but I don't know if I'd like, I wouldn't say that it's like a holy grail. The last product that was a favorite at this time last year was the Alba Botanica Even Advanced Sea Mineral Cleansing Gel. It's a face cleanser. I've talked about it many times on my channel. It's still one of my favorite face cleansers. I don't have it right now because I'm not really that picky about face cleansers, but I probably will repurchase it eventually. I've been through probably like 3 or 4 of those over the years, and it's just a solid, like basic, gentle cleanser. I think it would work well for all skin types. It has a light, kind of fresh scent, nothing, you know, too irritating or anything. And it's really inexpensive. I think it's like $6 or $7 if you get it on Vitacost or something like that. So still a great cleanser. I probably will purchase it again sometime because it's just a reliable cleanser. So those are all the products I'm going to talk about in today's video. It's always fun to kind of take a walk down memory lane, and I even watched these 2 videos just to kind of refresh my memory on what I had said about them last year, and it made me feel kind of sad and nostalgic. I don't know why, but like I was just kind of like missing my old apartment, and I don't know, it just made me a little sad. I don't know why. I guess more like bittersweet, but it's always fun to just kind of go back in time and like revisit old favorites and old times. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know if you'd like me to continue doing these, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.